On Saturday, November 9th, the third UFC tournament will be held in Russia. The main battle of UFC Fight Night 163, held in Moscow, will be the bout between Zabit Magomedsharipov and Calvin Kattar. Hello friends, this is All Life for Fights, and today we will introduce you to the headliners of the UFC tournament in Moscow, Zabit Magomedsharipov and Calvin Kattar. For a long time, the best promotion of the planet could not decide on the main fight at UFC Fight Night 163. It was believed that Alexander Volkov will perform in the main event, but his rival couldn't attend due to an injury. As a result, the fight that was transferred to Moscow and was supposed to be the co-headliner will become the main event of the evening. And Zabit Magomedsharipov and Calvin Kattar will meet in it. The fighters are able to give out an interesting sight in the cage, and the fight's format is a feature of the main battle of the evening. Zabit flatly refused to enter the 5-round battle. The fight will take place in 3 rounds, which is rare for the main fights in the UFC. Who is Zabit Magomedsharipov? At the age of 10, Zabit begins to engage in freestyle wrestling. His build did not allow the athlete to properly compete, which is why the fighter decided to move to Wushu. Along the way, playing football and developing kickboxer skills, Zabit, thanks to the school 5 cardinal points, mastered Wushu and started in mixed martial arts in 2012. Initially, Magomedsharipov showed his skills in the Ukrainian and Russian regional MMA tournaments. Having won the first 3 fights, the Dagestani fought against Iftikhor Arbobov, a famous athlete from Tajikistan, whom Magomedsharipov defeated by technical knockout. With a record of 4-0, the athlete was brought into a duel with the first major opponent of his career, but the prospect suddenly lost to Igor Egorov by submission. Successfully fighting in the Fight Nights and Upload Challenge, Magomedsharipov, with a record of 6-1, signed a contract with ACB. From the very first fight in the developing Russian promotion, the Dagestani showed a solid level of performance. Magomedsharipov broke his opponents ahead of schedule, having hit the Grand Prix of the featherweight division in the second fight in the promotion. In the semi-finals, the Dagestani defeated Artak Nazaryan and in the final forced Abdulrahman Tamirov to surrender. Zabit came out on his first title fight at the 31st event of the organization, and Sheikh Makomed Rabkanov, who was sent by the Kasavyut native to deep knockout, became his rival. Having successfully defended the belt, Zabit signed a contract with the UFC. Magomedsharipov began his appearances in the best promotion of the planet with a successful result in a fight with Mike Santiago, a victory by chokehold and a bonus for the performance of the evening. Next, Zabit continues his series of victories and winning more bonuses. Shimon Moraes is inferior to the Russian submission, Kyle Bochniak loses by unanimous decision with a bonus for the fight of the evening, and with Brandon Davis, Zabit holds the legendary knee lever, which becomes the main painful technique of the year. In an extreme fight in an equal match, the Dagestani was unanimously stronger than Jeremy Stevens. Now let's get to know Calvin Kattar. Kattar began to play sports at school, where he was on the wrestling team. With a wrestling scholarship, the American joined Middlesex College, in which he continued to develop his skills. In 2007, he first tried his hand at professional mixed martial arts. The American started with 3 consecutive wins at combat zone events. The promising athlete won 3 times ahead of schedule, but at the 4th fight in his career at the Elite XC promotion, he unexpectedly lost to James Jones by submission. The first famous opponent for the fighter was Kevin Roddy on Combat Zone 26. After knocking out his compatriot, for the first time in his career, Kattar made a loud statement about himself, after which he had a 5-0 streak. Having conceded to Don Carlo Claus by a split decision in the Extreme Championship fight, the fighter gives the most significant twinster in his professional career. For a long time, the fighter was not noticed by large promotions. He fought in not-so-bad organizations and defeated not too famous rivals, of which only Saul Almeida stands out. whom Kevin defeated in CS13. Before that, the fighter tried his hand at the featherweight division for the first time in his career. After confidently winning several more fights at CES, the American with a record of 16-2 signs a contract with the UFC. In the best promotion of the planet, the American will make his debut with a landslide victory in the battle with Andre Fili. Next, Kattar receives a bonus for the battle of the evening following the results of his early victory over Shane Burgos and gives way to Renato Moicano, interrupting his win streak of 10-0. In last fights, Kattar fought well with Chris Fishgold and Ricardo Lamas, knocking out both opponents in the first round. What do you think the result of the battle will be? Let's move on to the analysis, beginning with anthropometry, where Zabit has a very small advantage. He is a little taller and his arm span is bigger. Magomedsharipov is a universal fighter, but he pays a little more attention to the hits. Kattar is a clean hitter too, who defends himself well against transfers. Looking at the statistics of blows, the superiority of the Russian is observed in the stance. Kelvin deals more accented hits, but Zabit has a higher percentage of accuracy. In defense, the Magomedsharipov is much more successful. He misses 3 times less blows and works better on legs. The ground is already a clear advantage for Zabit. He spends an average of 6 takedowns in 15 minutes with a performance of 60%. These are excellent indicators. Kelvin, on the other hand, has a flawless defense against takedowns, successfully defending himself with an 80% chance. But still, if Zabit wants to move the fight to the ground, he most likely will succeed. Most likely, the Russian will use Kelvin's mistakes in defense, thereby interrupting him in the stance. So far, Zabit's only problem is his stamina. He pays too much attention to spectacular hits, which is why he quickly expands his strength. But since the fight is only 3 rounds, he should not have big problems. We believe that a victory on points will be for Zabit, while the chances of winning ahead of schedule are about 50-50 for both fighters. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you liked this video, click on like and write your thoughts in the comments. And if you have not subscribed to the One Life for Fights channel, then now is the time. And do not forget to click on the bell to not miss the release of a new video.